Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Carrie, and I'm excited to mediate this first EMC podcast with Esty McMillan, founder and CEO of EMC Relocations.
Hello, everyone. Joining tonight, thank you.
So we'll be getting the chance to hear from everyone individually later on, but first we'll do a quick round of introductions. Here we have Rosie Clark, principal of the Anglia School of Jakarta, or as everyone calls it, NAS.
Hello, thanks for having me.
And we have 4 NAS parents. I'm one of them, and we also have Ellie, Christian, and Amy. Hello. Some of us were also clients of Esty's when we first moved here. So you may be wondering why we're all gathered together today. Most of you are already aware that EMC Relocations is a boutique relocations company, and some of you may even know Esty personally, as she's a well-known member of the expat community here in Jakarta. So the best person to explain to you what EMC is all about is Esty herself.
Thank you, Carrie. Well, as you know, EMC is a boutique relocation company, and our motto is relocation with the different. So we treat our clients with no cookie cutter solutions. So we listen and we personalize the attention, sending emails with a lot of questions and answers. So to manage the expectations and to guide them before their arrival about Jakarta expat living. So by the time they arrive, and we understand their needs better, and we often show just shortlisted of houses. We never show many houses, and in fact, there's many times clients before they arrive from overseas, they already finalized the house, just like Christian. So, but we don't actually just do housing. We also offer a school search and general orientation and settling in program. So basically, we want to help our client to settle into Jakarta as smoothly as possible. As you know, Jakarta can be very overwhelming city when you are just new. So thank you, Carrie.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's actually the settling in program is kind of one of the things that gave you the idea for the podcast, right?
Yeah. Well, we started with blog and social media, of course, and we're covering different aspects of expat life in Jakarta, but we find it less obvious, so we thought podcast is the right thing to do. So we plan to do this podcast. This is our first podcast, and tonight we're talking about the school, but it will be a monthly program, and again, our aim is to help our client to receive as many information as possible about Jakarta.
Yes. And so those blog posts that she mentioned are still available on the EMC website and Instagram pages. So we'll actually share those links in the information detailings in this video. So for this first podcast, like Esty was saying, we're going to focus on the collaboration between EMC and NAS, learn a little bit about how they build community and assist new families. And from our NAS parents, we're going to hear their stories, hear some stories about what it was like to move to Jakarta, find the perfect home, find the perfect school, and so on. So we're hoping that will help newcomers to Jakarta really jump in and thrive like I know that you guys are. So first question is for Esty. Esty, what gave you the idea to start developing relationships with different schools around Jakarta?
Well, it's always, again, EMC focused to have the community aspect of our client moves and managing the expectation about the locations, distance to school and work and everything. And also, as you know, once you relocate to a new country with the family, the focus, first things first, is school. So we learned about NAS. Several years ago, we've been invited to the school, and we were very impressed with the feel of the school, the community spirit, and especially NAS is also located in the strategic suburb of Cilandak, and which is walking distance to the biggest expat compound. So it is no-brainer that we collaborate with North Anglia School to offer excellent service to our clients, be that schooling and housing in Jakarta. In fact, we put many clients of EMC happily that they're able walking to school and.
Mhm. Thank you. So, Rosie, can you elaborate a little bit on that? Explain, what NAS is, your role there, and a little bit about the school's focus?
Yes, sure, and thank you for your lovely comment. So part of my work as a principal of the school is to meet all families who are thinking of enrolling their children with us. And I know just from first-hand experience then how important it is to the families that I meet to have a really knowledgeable relocation agent like yourself, Betty. So let me just give you an overview of the school and what's important to us. So first of all, I know that all parents really are concerned about three things when they're choosing a school. Number one, that their child is going to be happy. Number two, that their child is going to be safe. And number three, that they're going to have a great relationship with their teacher. So important. So we value all of those three elements at NAS. And I think our annual parent satisfaction survey results demonstrate that actually you know that as well as us. I'd also like to just draw attention to the diversity of our community. So compared to the other international schools, we're the most balanced and mixed in our diversity. And what I mean by that is we haven't got any dominant nationality groups at NAS. And a dominant nationality group can really change or alter or dominate the atmosphere of the school. So we're pretty proud of that. And I know our children benefit from that, and I know our parents really appreciate it. We're a community school, right? I think you mentioned that. And so having a close relationship with our families is really, really important to us. So at NAF, we actively promote our students' understanding of the core values of respect, collaboration, and global citizenship. And that comes through partly having such a diverse community. Learning across the curriculum, making friends, developing personal, social, emotional skills in a really, truly international environment. All of that's fundamental to learning at NAS. Our other three core values are curiosity, creativity, and resilience. And from the very get-go, our youngest students to our oldest students, they're all engaged in a curriculum that helps to develop those skills and characteristics through learning. And what I mean by that is things like asking questions, finding out, sharing ideas, listening to the ideas of others, teamwork, hands-on, active learning, inquiry. These are all the characteristics and skills that are part and parcel of learning at NAP. So I think we mentioned, didn't we, the early years program at NAS. So that's something that we're proud of, and I think it's something that we're particularly known for. And the approach that we use is called the Reggio Emilia program. So what does that mean? Means learning indoors and outdoors. We've got a fantastically rich, beautiful outdoor area at NAP. And so learning outdoors takes place every single day for our youngest children. It's a very natural, it's a very calming experience for them. So I think to summarise everything that NAS is about, we want students at NAS to have a love for learning. We want them to have a confidence, true confidence in learning, and we want them to be the very best that they can be right across the school as their learning progresses.
Thanks so much for that, Rosie. That was really interesting. Can you explain some of the steps that NAS takes to help new families get settled and also encourage parent involvement?
Yeah. Well, our parent involvement is really important to us, and we're not a school that keeps out parents. Absolutely the opposite, really. So we do a few things, such as, well, first of all, parent ambassadors, and I'm really proud to be seated alongside a couple of our parent ambassadors tonight. So, what do the parent ambassadors do? They focus especially on new parents and new families, right? So I get you along to help me with open days, when we have social activities with parents, events, and so forth. So really focusing on answering questions with new families. We have a couple of parent ambassadors in our Korean community and Japanese community who help particularly with those nationality groups. And sometimes, new parents, even before they've arrived in the country, can contact those parent ambassadors and ask their questions and hear it from first hand. Another thing that we do is we have a huge group of parent volunteers. So we have parents on the school campus every single day of the week, actually, helping in lots of different ways. So you help in the library, reading, all sorts of things. And in fact, tomorrow, World Teacher Day, I know you're all actively involved in saying thank you to our amazing teachers. I also have a committee of parents who help with something that's run by the parents completely, which is our culture corner. I mentioned already that we're a very diverse community with lots of different cultures to celebrate for children to learn about those cultures. So this is an initiative run by our parents. So my little group, we planned ahead what cultures and what events and what celebrations do we want to focus on this year, and then they'll support those displays, interactive displays, which are really interesting, and the children love to take part in, whatever the activities are there or what is there to read about. And our first one of the year was yours, Perry, right? Looking at Canadian Thanksgiving, which is great, and thank you for that. And then finally, we have our class parents. So our class parents are volunteers who work with the class teacher on communication. So just to help the smooth running of the day-to-day functioning of the school, key messages, reminders, those sorts of things. So lots of parent involvement. And I think for new parents arriving, it's really helpful sometimes to know I can just get involved and I can get busy with school.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So Esty, what part of those programs really spoke to you when you thought about collaborating with NAS? I know a lot of those programs sound kind of similar to some of the things that you do with new arrivals to Jakarta.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie. Well, again, our aim is always to help our client to be comfortable to move to Jakarta with providing as many information as possible. So finding the right school for our client children, which give them attention and building community within the school, it gives us a peace of mind. And actually, EMC doesn't just offer school, but we also informally, we always share places to go, places to do, and we expect organization to join sports club. We advise client on schools and many aspects of expat life. And in fact, we just published our Welcome to Jakarta guide, and in there full of information again of expat life with the school cultural differences, but with many things. But we try to do it still in a summarized way, but still informative and positive, and to help our clients to feel to be able to embrace their stay in Jakarta and to be part of the community and settle in as easy as possible.
Yes, so true. Thanks so much for that, ladies. So now we'll focus on our NAS parents. As I mentioned before, I'm here to support EMC, but I'm also a NAS parent myself. And I actually met Esty 2 years ago when she helped my family find our Jakarta home. So I moved here with my husband for his work and with our 2 daughters, who are both currently going to NAS. So with this discussion, we're going to try to hopefully share some tips and tricks, learn about your stories too, so that our listeners who may be in the same boat that we were a couple of years ago can jump right in and thrive like I know you guys are. So you heard a little bit about me. Ellie, can you start? Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Ellie. I moved to Jakarta in 2016 from Bangalore, India. I moved here because my husband found work, and what was to be a short tenure lasted 7 years now. So I mean, we've not left, but I've been fortunate enough to start a couple of businesses here, and I work in design and marketing, and I also have my daughter here.
Christian?
Yeah, my name is Christian. We moved here about 2 years ago together with my wife and my 2 children. Before, we lived in Fiji and the Philippines, and during the time when COVID was happening, we moved back to Germany. But my wife is working for the Asian Development Bank, so it was very logical for us to come back to Asia. And my wife was able to get a job at the Asian Development Bank here in Jakarta. And yeah, it was an exciting adventure again for us to come back to Asia, to a new country to explore. I myself, I'm a content creator. I have TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube channels where I do street comedy together with a German friend. But it's also an international undertaking, basically. So we do it from everywhere, and we're looking forward to doing some street comedy in Indonesia now as well. And I'm also doing a master's course in environmental science for quite a while now, for quite a long time actually. I should finish. And yeah, that's giving me a lot of joy. And coming here to Jakarta was a great experience 2 years ago, and we've enjoyed our time immensely so far. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Amy. I've been in Jakarta for just over a year and a half. I moved here with my husband and my 2 young sons. Before we moved here, we were living in London, but I'd spent a lot of time living in Australia before that, and I'd grown up in the Middle East as a child. So when my husband had the opportunity to move here for work, my itchy feet helped us leap onto it. So we moved over here, and yeah, we've really enjoyed living here ever since, really.
Great. Thanks, guys. So we heard Rosie outline earlier some of the steps that NAS takes to help encourage parent involvement. I know personally getting involved with the school has helped me feel connected to my kids' lives and has also helped build relationships with other parents because you get to see the same people, over and over again. Christian, how important was it for you to get involved, and do you feel like it made a difference in how quickly it helped you get settled?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it makes a difference for those people I speak with. Rosie was so kind to suggest that I become parent ambassador, I think about a year ago or something like that. And it can be quite overwhelming, like Esty mentioned already, for newcomers to come to Jakarta if they've not experienced a city like this before. So I know how challenging it can be, and it's always good to have a good community, someone to talk to if you have questions, if something is unclear, to help you find friends or answer questions around the school, around housing and everything. So yeah, we've had a couple of nice social events where we met new people and did a couple of question and answer sessions at the school. And yeah, hopefully going forward, I can make a bit of a difference and make people feel more welcome when they come to Jakarta. That's my goal.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, the sense of community is one of the things that really attracted me to NAS. And personally, it's been great for me to be able to meet other people and make friends through the school as well. And yeah, I've tried to really get involved in as many events and initiatives as possible at NAS. It's great.
So Ellie, I know you've just joined the school this term.
Yeah.
So you've been here for a while. So what steps did you take to find or build a community around you, and how long did that take you?
So when I first moved, it took me a while to find my community here because I didn't move for work, and I didn't have a kid at that time. So I really had to take an extra step to get into different communities, meet friends of friends, get to know people. And I was fortunate enough to find work as well. So that led me to meeting a lot of people. And I had to actually make a conscious effort to do that as well. But having said that, I've noticed now that having my baby girl go to NAS, it's been so much easier to connect with people. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I basically just tried to make friends with as many people as I could. There are so many different communities that you can make use of here. So, like the compound, people at the compound that you're living in, through my husband's work, other social groups, and NAS. Actually, NAS has been a really, really key one. I've made quite a few friends through NAS, and I guess the really important thing about that as well is making friends with other families, and your children are friends with each other, so it gives you great things to do on the weekends, play dates and stuff. Another really good thing is being able to volunteer here, which I've really appreciated. So there's lots of other social and community groups like ANZA and BWA, which offer events and initiatives that you can take part in. And ANZA in particular has been really good for weekly activities with young children. Yeah.
What about you, Christian?
Yeah, one thing just came to mind, how to interact with the community. Actually, it was last year when I suggested to my daughter Lily, why don't we just make a little lemonade and cookie stand in the village? And sell cookies and lemonade to everyone in the village and everybody around. So I shared this information with my people at NAS and also in the community, in the compound, and lots of people came. And I think we collected over 4 million rupiah and then donated this to an organization here in Jakarta or in Indonesia called ISCO Foundation, which helps to prevent poor kids becoming street children. So they enable them with education and shelter and everything. So that was a great way to have people come round, serve the community, and just be part of it all, and doing something for a good cause. And Lily was very happy selling lemonade as well. So that was a great event, and it shows because so many people came and were interested and happy to help. It shows that the community around our compound and around NAS is a really good community and nice to be around with.
Nice. Yeah, I love that image of the little lemonade stand. Yeah, my experience was quite similar to Amy's. I basically said yes to everything. I immediately vetted everybody that I'd met as a potential friend. It's like you're dating kind of, but for friendships. And I started volunteering at the school as a class parent and then a parent ambassador. I joined all of the expat associations that I was even closely related to, so ANZA, BWA, being Canadian, the CWA. My husband and I joined a local gym. I found a community choir to join, and we even joined a family hiking group on the weekends. And so one of the things that I kind of noticed just with all of those different groups is how big but how small the Jakarta expat community really is. Yeah. So there's a lot of overlap between those groups, and you start to notice the people who have the same interests in you and see the same people at a lot of these things, which is really cool. Christian, how did you actually learn about NAS, and what made you choose that school?
So first of all, when we decided to move to Jakarta, my wife started going on Facebook on a group called Jakarta Expats, and wrote if anybody had tips for location, schools, and those sort of things. And Esty was so kind to reply to one of those messages and spoke to my wife and opened the conversation. And then it all basically started with Esty, and she was a one-stop shop solution basically for all our questions, and all our worries were addressed and answered, and she helped us a lot guiding us along the process of coming to Jakarta, and she highly recommended NAS as a school, and the fact that Astoria residence where we live is just next to it, and we're able to walk to school. I consider that a big luxury, because I've lived in Manila before where it was not the case like this, and it was a bit daunting every morning to travel to school. Now it's really great being able to walk to the school, and the school itself was also very welcoming and nice. When we decided that we want to send our kids to NAS, we had a virtual tour because it was during the time of COVID and we were still located in Germany. But it was very evident that it's a nice community, very friendly people, a great compound, the school itself with lots of green and everything. And at the end of the tour, we saw the one entry to the library, the Hobbit hole, basically, which is like a Hobbit door to the library, and that actually really convinced us that it's a great school. It sounds a bit corny, but it was quite a nice virtual meeting that we had, and it just all fitted together with Esti and Rosie. So it was an easy decision at the end of the day for us to do this.
The Hobbit door definitely sold it for our kids too, that in the playground. And when we did the tour, my husband and I, we were really impressed with the teachers' energy, and also kind of after being used to the city of Jakarta, that beautiful campus is just a breath of fresh air. So that was really lovely. What about you, Amy?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke to a couple of people. We were in the UK at the time, so we spoke to a couple of people, parents who'd had kids at the school, who said really positive things about it. Then we had a lovely call with Rosie, and one of the early years teachers, who talked about the ethos and the feel of the school, and had a virtual tour as well, which is really lovely to get a proper feel for what it's actually going to be like there. Coupled with that, we can't walk there, but we're only a 10-minute drive away, which was also really important for us. My then 4-year-old, I was not keen to sit on a bus for an hour and a half back and forth to school each day. So, the pair of those things really made it the obvious choice for us as well. And we've been really, really pleased with it as well. My son was a bit apprehensive before starting, but he had a lovely online meeting with his class teacher before he joined and walked in on the first day without looking back. My now 3-year-old is starting in January, and he's very excited to be joining the school too. So yeah, it's been a really great step for us.
It's exciting. What about you, Ellie?
Well, like Amy said, we had a lot of friends whose kids went to NAS, and they spoke so much about it. They spoke very highly of it. So we went and checked out the campus because we live in EP as well. We just walked down. The ease was just great. And we just loved the campus and everything about it. And we spoke to the teachers as well. And it was a no-brainer for us, to be very honest. And we're very happy with that decision.
Oh, that's great to hear. So you actually worked with the SD to find your current house, right? Yeah. How did you find out about EMC, and what made you decide to work with them?
So I've been working in the home and design business for a while. So like I said, I've actually heard of SD from, it's been a while, and I've heard of her a lot. So I actually reached out to her at a very crucial point. I was pregnant, and I really wanted to move into EP because I was thinking about, how it would be great for families. And there was nothing available, and I was like, SD, you gotta help me. But she came through with her personal connections. It was great, and she made everything super smooth for us to move in. It was during COVID as well. So they had to really work hard to get us in there. But thank you so much, SD.
Thank you.
It's been great. Yeah.
And Christian, you had mentioned that you found EMC online.
Yes. Basically, through Facebook, we SD sent us a direct message because my wife reached out on Expats Jakarta on the Facebook group, and then you reached out, and that's how the contact basically started. And then we had a brilliant conversation, discussed all the things that needed to be addressed, and That was fantastic. Yeah, we didn't have any desire to speak to anyone else.
Yeah.
That was really similar to our experience too. It was during, the COVID pandemic and travel restrictions were pretty big. So SD actually helped us months before we even moved here, answering the many questions that we had too. So thank you for that.
It was a similar situation for us because it was also during COVID and we were still in Germany. We weren't able to come to Indonesia and look at houses. If we would have come here, we would have been like stuck in a hotel first and we were. And so it was really good to have someone knowledgeable to help us with that move, and that made all the difference coming here. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's,
Lovely to hear.
Thank you. Let's shift tack a little bit and talk about our impressions of Jakarta. So, Amy, what was your first impression of Jakarta?
So we arrived here in the middle of the pandemic. So our first 10 days in Jakarta were in hotel quarantine. So yeah, it was quite a weird experience. But we were on the sort of 16th floor of this quite fancy hotel, basically just looking down at the chaos of Jakarta, bikes zooming everywhere, the colour, the noise. So that was our sort of overriding impression to start with, was chaos. But now we found our zen place. So yeah, I feel like we've got past that.
That was us too. But we snuck in at that really brief window, and it was only a 5-day quarantine. Oh, no. So, what about you, Ellie?
Well, my first impression of Jakarta was that it's definitely overwhelming, but coming from India, I could handle that. It's pretty much the same. However, I did enjoy that you could find like very interesting places in certain pockets, and they had really like good places and interesting places to go to, and it wasn't very hard to settle in.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Christian?
Well, the start was a bit challenging, to be honest. We also came during the quarantine time, and I think we had to do 10 weeks of quarantine. We were also stuck in a very nice hotel on the 40th floor or something like that. And I knew a little bit what to expect because we lived in Manila for 4 years before that. But right before that, we lived in Germany in a wine region, so that was quite a contrast to come here to Jakarta. And then looking out of the window on the 40th floor, seeing the pollution and seeing all the chaos down there was a little bit overwhelming, I admit. But I had a very nice moment in this hotel as well, because it was over New Year's Eve that we decided to be in quarantine, actually, and we were lucky enough to see the biggest firework that we've ever seen, but not for very long, and then it was all cloudy. But yeah, after that challenging time in the quarantine, relocating with your kids with lots of worries that you naturally have, we had a very short period that it took us to get used to the city and used to the community. Thanks to those people around in the compound and at NAS. So it didn't take us very long to feel at home, actually.
Thanks. So now that everybody's settled, why don't we share our favorite places in Jakarta? Amy, do you want to start?
Oh yeah, I mean it depends what you want to do, really. I think like if you want to go out for dinner or to a bar or something, Senopati is a great place to go. If you're trying to do something with the kids and trying to be outdoors, that can be a little tricky in Jakarta. We quite like to take the kids bike riding like around the stadium in the city, or sometimes around the zoo, which is quite a fun place to go. Or to get out of the city actually on the weekends is really nice as well. So we'll quite often go to Central and have a bit of a hike and brunch, get a view, see some of the rice paddies. It's nice.
And Christian?
Yeah, I can. I put my signature under that. So that's all actually the same for us. The location where we are now, Kemang, is also quite nice. It's got very nice restaurants, bars, cafes, supermarkets. It's very close to where we live, close to the school as well, so it doesn't take us very long. There's also a good expat community here in Kemang. Lots of people choose to live here. It's a very nice area. But yeah, there's many places, and it always depends on what you want to do. If you're into sports, you can just go south a little bit or to the west and go for a bike ride and things like that. it takes you a little bit to get out of the city, but once you're out of the city, it's amazing what you can discover there. And there's many great places to explore for sure.
Ellie, did you have any favorites?
I think they've covered
They've covered them, yeah. I just signed my name to that too. So what was so here's some tips. What were the best tips that you received when you first arrived? Who wants to start us off?
Oh, embrace WhatsApp. I think that's the key one, isn't it? You can't survive here without WhatsApp. Everything runs on WhatsApp.
Very true.
Yeah, absolutely. That and Esti recommended this as well. We already knew this from Manila as well, to keep the triangle between work, school and home as small as possible, because Jakarta is a city with a lot of traffic. It can be extremely frustrating at times, peak travel times to get from A to B. So if you keep this triangle as small as possible and then travel at those times where it's a little bit better with the traffic, then that makes a lot of difference. So yeah, that is I think a key thing to consider.
I think I have to agree with Amy. Like, get on WhatsApp as fast as you can and connect and communicate. I think you're going to get a lot done.
Yeah, and take Instagram accounts seriously. They're better updated than websites usually. Yes. Yeah, one of our best tips actually came from Esti as well. When we were first coming here, a look and see visit wasn't possible, so we were just going to book something, anything, and lock it in. And Esti highly recommended that we take a temporary residence for about 30 days, try it out in Kamang, make sure it's the right vibe, figure out our school situation, and then look at a house and commit. And it made a world of difference having that pressure taken off, knowing we were covered when we got out of quarantine, and then we could to meet you and see some homes. So thanks for that. It worked out well. Okay, last question, guys, and then we'll go back to Rosie. What would be the best advice that you can give to newcomers to Jakarta?
Oh, I just say yes to any invitations that you get, any events that you can go to, meet new people, get out there, do new stuff. It's a big city. It can be a bit confronting, and I think you need to find your people and to know who you can go to for advice when you need to. So yeah, definitely, that would be mine.
Yeah, I would recommend doing a language course, a Bahasa course. I did a beginner's course, A1, and it made a lot of difference being able to communicate with the locals here, with Indonesians, because it always puts a smile on their face if you say Selamat pagi or something else, and have a little bit of a conversation. It always makes people very happy. And also when you travel, which is another tip that I would recommend to do, there's so many places in Indonesia that you can get to and explore, which are fantastic to see. It's not only Bali, it's so many other places that are worth visiting. And then if you have a little bit of language skills, it makes all the difference. So if you're here, travel and communicate with the locals. It's worth it.
Well, I would say personally, give the city a chance, because a lot of people get overwhelmed in the beginning. But once you get to get settled down and find the right community and find out the people are lovely here, they're very kind, very nice, you do discover a lot that is not there on the internet or out there. That would be.
Yeah, no, great answers, guys. Thanks so much. So Rosie, I know that you're fairly new to Jakarta. How long have you been here, and what would be your advice to newcomers?
Yeah, so I've been here 3 years, so not quite as long as Ellie, but maybe I'm relatively new still. But first of all, can I just say thank you very much for your endorsement of the school and the relationship that we have with FD here. So when I meet new families, I always say location, location, location. Really. So 25% of our community actually lives within walking distance of the school, as Christian was mentioning about keep that triangle closed. And then the vast majority of the rest of our families are within 15, 20 minutes of the school as well. So for me, everything we've been talking about belonging to a community, I think that's a game changer. I think that's what makes a real difference to your move to Jakarta.
Absolutely. Esti, did you have anything else you'd like to say?
Well, First of all, I would love to say huge thank you to Carrie for supporting EMC, ex-client, but also as an aspirant to help put together this podcast. And without you, this first podcast won't happen. So thank you, Carrie. And to Rossi for coming tonight. I know you are very busy, but thank you to talk about North Anglia School. And well, hopefully we continue with this collaboration. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and also to Ellie and Christian and Amy for coming to support us, to support EMC, and to be here to share the experiences that you have moving to Jakarta with the school, with the daily expat life. So thank you, everyone, and so I hope you enjoy our first podcast. And please subscribe to our channel and leave comments and questions, and we will try to answer as best as we could. So, everyone, good night and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
for joining
much.
us, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.